This is the story of a woman who returns from death with a terrifying message from Jesus told by the person herself. Keep watching till the end to find out what happened to her. Let's begin. Hello, my name is Margaret Bennett, and I never imagined I'd return from death at the age of 70. I suppose no one does. But here I am, alive, breathing, speaking to you when I should have passed into eternity. You see, I wasn't just gone for a moment. I was gone long enough for the doctors to give up, for my family to weep over me, and for the finality of death to settle in. And yet, I came back. But it wasn't because I wanted to. No, I was sent back. Sent back with a message so urgent, so terrifying, that I can't keep silent about it. The last thing I remember before waking up was the feeling of my body giving out. The illness had hit me fast, something the doctors struggled to name. My daughter Susan had rushed me to the hospital, her hands shaking as she clutched mine in the ambulance. Hang on, Mom, she kept saying, her voice cracking. My grandson, Ethan, trailed close behind in his old beat-up car, honking at traffic to keep up. I remember feeling their love, their worry, but also the slow, inevitable pull of something much bigger. When I opened my eyes again, it wasn't to the world I'd known for 7 decades. There was light, blinding, warm, and endless. It wasn't like the light from the sun. This light was alive. It embraced me, filled me with a peace I can't describe. And then I stood in the presence of him. Jesus. I know how that sounds. I know you're probably thinking, this old lady has finally lost it. But I swear to you, I saw him. I was there. His eyes, they saw everything. His voice, it wasn't just heard, it was felt, like it resonated deep inside me. He showed me things. Things I didn't want to see, things about our world and where we're headed. And then, just as quickly as I'd arrived, I was sent back. When I woke up, I was back in that hospital bed. My daughter Susan was gripping my hand, tears running down her face, but her head was bowed and her eyes were closed. I heard her whisper, "Goodbye, Mom." Ethan stood behind her, his arms crossed, his face pale. My other grandson, Caleb, was staring out the window, avoiding the scene altogether. The nurses were speaking in low tones, one of them switching off the monitors. They had declared me dead. Then I gasped, drawing in air so sharply that Susan screamed. I don't blame her, it must have been terrifying. Her head snapped up, and she stumbled backward, her chair screeching across the floor. Ethan jumped back, bumping into a tray of instruments, and Caleb spun around, his face white as a sheet. "Mama," Susan stammered, her voice trembling as she clutched the edge of my bed. I tried to smile, but I couldn't. But it must have come out more like a grimace. My body still felt heavy, sluggish, but I forced the words out. "I'm back," I whispered, my throat dry and raspy. The nurses were shouting now, calling for the doctor. One of them dropped her clipboard, and the sound of it hitting the floor echoed in the room like a thunderclap. The attending physician, Dr. Reynolds, burst through the door moments later, his face a mix of disbelief and shock. "That's not possible," he muttered under his breath, his eyes scanning the machines, my body, and then my face. "This is impossible, but impossible or not, I was there. I was alive." Susan's face was a mixture of joy and fear. "What? Mom, you were gone. You were gone. You were gone." I know I said my voice stronger now, but I've been sent back. There's something I have to tell you. Her expression shifted. "Sent back? What are you talking about?" I took a deep breath and looked into her eyes. I saw him, Susan. I saw Jesus, and he sent me back with a message. It's not just for me. It's for the whole world. And it's about Elon Musk. Her mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. Behind her, Ethan furrowed his brow, his skepticism already evident. "Elon Musk," he repeated, as if I'd just said something absurd. "Yes," I said, my voice firm. "He showed me things, Ethan. Things about the future, about humanity's choices, and Elon Musk. He's at the center of it all." Caleb shifted uncomfortably by the window, rubbing the back of his neck. Susan blinked rapidly, trying to process what I was saying. The room fell into a stunned silence, broken only by the distant beeping of a machine somewhere in the hallway. I could see the disbelief on their faces, the mixture of hope, confusion, and doubt. But there was no denying what I had experienced. "I don't expect you to understand," I said, my voice softer now. "But you need to listen. This message isn't about me. It's about all of us. Jesus showed me what's coming, and Elon Musk is at a crossroad. The choices he makes will affect the future of all mankind." Susan finally found her voice. "Mom, you've just been through so much." Maybe this is, I know what you're thinking. I interrupted. That it's a dream or a hallucination. But I'm telling you, this is real. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. The doctor tried to interject, but I didn't let him. Please, I said, my eyes pleading. Just listen. This isn't about whether or not you believe me. It's about what's coming. We have to be ready, and as I looked at each of them, Susan, Ethan, Caleb, the nurses, even the skeptical doctor, I saw the weight of my words beginning to sink in. Whether they believed me or not, they couldn't deny that something extraordinary had happened, and this was only the beginning. I remember every detail of what happened after I died. It wasn't like falling asleep or fading away into darkness. One moment I felt my body letting go, the weight of years and sickness pulling me down like an anchor. The next I was light as a feather, soaring upward into a place that was unlike anything I could have imagined. At first it was quiet, almost eerily so, but the quiet wasn't empty. It was full, brimming with an energy I couldn't describe. There was light everywhere, bright and golden, yet not blinding. It wrapped around me, warm and comforting as though it knew me. It wasn't the sterile, artificial light of the hospital, or even the warm glow of a sunrise. This light was alive. It pulsed with something pure, something holy. And as it touched me, I felt all the pain, fear, and heaviness of my life melt away. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't even confused. I just was. And it was perfect. As I moved or was pulled, I'm not sure which, I began to see shapes forming in the distance. The light grew brighter, more vivid, and soon I realized it wasn't just light, it was a place. Rolling hills, golden fields, rivers that shimmered like liquid crystal. Everything seemed to hum with a kind of music, but not music as we know it wasn't coming from a source, it was simply there, as if the whole place was alive and singing. Colors I had never seen before swirled around me, vibrant and impossible to describe. Then I felt it, a presence, not just any presence, it was him, Jesus. I didn't see him at first, but I knew he was there. I could feel him. Like the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the first embrace of someone you love. His presence filled me with an overwhelming sense of peace and love, but also something else, something heavier. It was sorrow, a deep, aching sorrow that seemed to press against the joy of the place like a shadow. And then there he was, standing before me. Jesus didn't look like the pictures you see in churches or in paintings. He wasn't pale or distant. He was radiant, yet his eyes carried a depth I couldn't comprehend. They were kind, but they also saw everything. Every thought, every deed, every secret I had ever held in my heart. His gaze wasn't condemning though. It was loving, but truthful. It was as if he could see the whole of me, all at once, and he still loved me. I can't put into words what that felt like. It was humbling, overwhelming, and freeing all at once. He spoke, but not with words. His voice was in me, around me, everywhere. Margaret, he said, and the sound of my name in his voice brought me to my knees. You are here for a moment, but your work is not done. I am sending you back. I was stunned. Sending me back? I had only just arrived. I didn't want to leave this place, this peace, this perfection. But he wasn't finished. There is a message you must deliver, he continued, a message for the world. At that moment, visions began to flood my mind. Images, sounds, and feelings that I couldn't begin to process all at once. I saw the earth spinning in the vastness of space. Beautiful yet fragile. I saw humanity busy and distracted, rushing towards something they didn't fully understand. There was so much light, so much innovation. But there were also shadows creeping in. Greed, corruption, and a dangerous reliance on things they didn't control. And then one name stood out among the chaos, Elon Musk. I saw him clearly standing at the center of it all. He was surrounded by towering structures of glass and steel, machines that seemed alive, and pathways that led to the stars. He was both a builder and a destroyer, a man of immense power and influence. But he wasn't alone. Behind him I saw figures, some whispering encouragement, others sowing doubt. It was as if he were walking a tightrope, teetering between two fates, one of creation and one of destruction. Jesus' voice came again, steady and sorrowful. He is at a crossroads. The choices he makes will shape not just this world, but worlds to come. I didn't understand at first. Why Elon Musk? Why was this one man so important? But Jesus showed me more. I saw the technologies Musk was creating, spaceships hurtling toward distant planets, machines that could think and feel. wires connecting human minds to computers. These weren't just inventions, they were tools that could either elevate humanity to something greater or sever it from its soul. Pray for him, Jesus said. Pray for the choices he will make, for the enemy seeks to use his brilliance against him. I felt the weight of those words settle on me like a heavy cloak. I wanted to ask questions, to plead for more time to understand, but I couldn't speak. The visions kept coming. I saw the earth again, but this time it was different. In one version, it was vibrant, alive, a place where technology and faith worked together to bring harmony. In another, it was cold and lifeless, a world dominated by machines and stripped of its humanity. It reminded me that even in a world that feels cold and overwhelming, there is light, there is love, and there is a greater purpose. Thank you for sharing it. I held the letter close, tears streaming down my face. This was why I'd been sent back. Not to change the world on my own, but to remind others that they had the power to change it together. Each prayer, each act of faith, each step toward kindness and connection was a thread in the fabric of the future. As I looked out at the horizon, I felt a deep sense of peace. The message was out there now, reaching hearts and minds in ways I could never have imagined. The future was still uncertain, still full of challenges. But I knew, without a doubt, that humanity had the strength to choose the path of light. And I would spend whatever time I had left reminding them of that truth.